Are we rolling? Yes, we are. What's up, guys? It's your boy McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free movie review of the movie that I just saw, which was the new Nicolas Cage action movie, Jiu Jitsu. It's a 2020 film. So, like I said, this is a 2020 action film. That is playing in theaters, but only for a limited amount of time, and it's already out on VOD. It's already out on digital. I watched it digitally. I didn't go see it in theaters. I watched it digitally. Yeah. But it's still technically like a theatrical. It's still technically a theatrically released movie. Anyway, this movie stars Alan. Hold on. If I mispronounce this guy's last name, I'm sorry, but it's kind of hard to pronounce. Anyway, Mousy, or Mousy, however you pronounce his, or Musai, or Masai, or however you pronounce this guy's last name. I think it's Masai. So this movie stars Alan Masai as Jake Barnes, who is like a war hero who loses his memory and has amnesia. And just randomly wakes up when people find him, when the army finds him and stuff. He just wakes up and he doesn't know who he is. Well, he doesn't know a lot about his past. In this movie co-stars Nicolas Cage as Wiley, who is a really bad just martial artist fighter, hippie dude almost. So in this movie, it's the story is that every 6 years, a team of martial artists have to assemble together to fight an alien, a certain alien that's trying to take over the world and stuff. So yeah, in this movie the villain is an alien. And this movie actually works. I actually really enjoyed it. It's not a great movie, but it is a good movie. It's very underrated in my opinion. I mean, a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes? What? Why does it have that? It doesn't deserve such a low score. Why does it have a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes? Oh, and I also definitely don't understand why it has a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 20 on Metacritic. I actually enjoyed this film, and I know a lot of people hate this movie. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm not being sarcastic when I say that I don't understand why it has such a low score on all these things, all these sites. I seriously meant it when I said that I didn't understand why it had such a low score on Rotten Tomatoes and like an even lower score on IMDb. Like, I wasn't being sarcastic. I'm actually serious. Or 20 on a Metacritic. I'm actually serious. I don't really get the hate for this movie. I mean, it's not like a perfect movie. It's not like a masterpiece. It's not like a great movie. But it is a good movie. It's just a fun, enjoyable, like, it's just a fun, enjoyable kind of movie. Most everything in here is good. So, like, the pacing and stuff is good, but not great. The dialogue in here is mostly good, but sometimes, sometimes it's like a little bit, you know, like just average dialogue, and like sometimes it's like great dialogue. Like, there are a few moments of great dialogue, and there are a few moments of, like, you know, average dialogue, just okay dialogue. But, like, you know, most of the dialogue in this movie is just good dialogue, but not great dialogue. The best thing about this movie is, like, the action and, like, the fight scenes. The majority of the fight scenes are, like, really good, and then, like, there are some that are just flat out, like, you know, awesome, like, just great fight scenes with great stunts. And then there are, like, one or two little brief, like, you know, moments where, like, the fight scenes, or like the moments in the fight scenes were just, like, okay, like the fighting was okay, but, like, you know, it wasn't good or great, but it was mostly really good. And it was mostly good and great fight scenes. Like, the fight scenes in this movie are mostly really good, and sometimes great, and a little, and like sometimes, but, like, you know, barely, just barely sometimes, like, you know, average. But yeah, most of the fight scenes in this movie are just good, really good, and it's really fun to watch those fight scenes. That's what, you know, that's what kind of, like, you know, that's what kind of, like, holds the movie together. These fight scenes hold the movie together and make it, and they make it, like, you know, they're like the biggest factor, like the biggest reason why I enjoyed this movie. They're the biggest reason why I enjoyed this movie. I was impressed by the fighting scenes and the action scenes. Yeah, the acting is mostly good, but not great. Sometimes it'll be, like, sometimes there's some great acting, like, for, like, 2 or 3 scenes, there's some great acting, and then, like, for, you know, like, sometimes there's just also, like, average acting, but, you know, there's only, like, a little bit of that, like, only, like, some brief instances of average acting. The CGI was mostly good. Like, sometimes it would just be, like, okay CGI. There would just be, like, okay CGI. But, like, you know, it was mostly good CGI. This movie has, like, mostly good CGI and special effects. Sometimes there's, like, average CGI in there. Like, just okay CGI, okay looking CGI, but not, like, good looking CGI. But that's not very, it doesn't happen very much in this movie. Like, there are only a few instances of, like, you know, CGI that's, like, not good, but not, you know, CGI that's, like, not good, but okay. Anyway, you know, this isn't, like, Nicolas Cage's best movie, but, like, you know, it's not a bad movie. it's one of his good movies. You know, there are obviously like way better Nicolas Cage movies, like Color Out of Space, Mandy, Lord of War, Face Off, National Treasure 2. The list goes on that are like, you know, great Nicolas Cage movies. But this is one of the better Nicolas Cage movies. It wouldn't be in like my top 10, but it might be in like my top 20 Nicolas Cage movies. It was just a really enjoyable movie. So when I was like, you know, about to watch this movie, like, I wasn't expecting to like actually like it. I expected to just find it okay, like an okay movie. Like, I expected it to just be average, like, you know, okay. I didn't expect it to be bad, but I didn't really expect it to be good either. But, you know, it totally like, you know, proved me wrong. It was a good movie. It wasn't a great movie, wasn't a masterpiece, but it was a good movie. It's just enjoyable and it's fun. And I'm gonna give it an 80% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of a B-. So if you've seen this movie, tell me down below in the comments what you thought about it. I mean, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you mildly dislike it? Did you have mixed feelings about it? Did you love it? What'd you think? Tell me down below. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.